Society. We welcome all today's webinar, which has a very important subject, protection of children from sexual offences. So, the title of this webinar is Safe, Secure and Healthy Offences. We will be engaged four esteemed speakers who will be enlighten us on the various legal, social and mental aspects related to protection. Welcome Shalini Kormakar, who is another co-host in this webinar. Shalini,
Yes, thank you, Shurasthi. A very good afternoon, everyone. So, I'm Shalini Kormokar, another co-host of this webinar. I'm a counselor of Barakpur Avenue Women's Cultural and Social Welfare Society. So now, with taking the permission from ma'am, we are going to start our today's webinar. So I will take this opportunity to introduce our very special guest of the webinar. But unfortunately, due to some medical issues, our clinical psychologist ma'am is unable to participate today's webinar. But we have with us another very special guest who is Shahili Kaur, another psychologist of the day. So now I would like to start. So now I would like to start or introduce our four very special guests of the day. So we have with us first Mrs. Tamili Mojumdar, who is the former judge cum vice chairman, Central Administrative Tribunal, Mumbai Bench and regional director, Global Vision India Foundation. Now, next we have with us Mrs. Melody Raj, who is the sector coordinator, education, Melamiyat Central Committee, India. Now, next we have with us Mrs. Sahili Kaur, who is clinical psychologist. Next we have with us Ms. Anushra Chakraborty, who is the officer in charge reporting and scanning cell and FRO special branch, Barakpur Police Commissionerate. So now, to begin this webinar, I would now request our Secretary Ma'am, Mrs. Camille Johnson, to say some few words about the organization's work as well as the objective of the webinar. So please welcome Ma'am.
Shweta Miss, stop screen sharing. স্ক্রিন শেয়ারিংটা স্টপ করুন।
আমি সবাইকে একটু রিকোয়েস্ট করব স্ক্রিন শেয়ার আর সবাইকে একটু মিউট করে নিতে। একটু সবাই যাতে মিউট করে নেয়। প্লিজ ওয়েলকাম ম্যাম।
afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon,
Good
ma'am.
afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good
Yes,
afternoon,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Good
Good
afternoon,
afternoon.
ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Do we have with us all our esteemed speakers for the day?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so can we officially start? Shalini,
So I request everyone to mute yourself. Okay, ma'am. can we start from the beginning? Okay, Shurashri, so you can start. Shurashri, you can start from the beginning.
A very good afternoon to all our guest speakers, ma'am, and all participants. I am Shurashri Ghosh, Councillor of Barrackpur Avenue Women's Cultural and Social Welfare Society. We welcome all today's webinar, which has a very important subject, protection of children from sexual offences. So, the title of this webinar is Safe, Secure and Healthy Childhood. We will be engaged four esteemed speakers who will enlighten us on the various legal, social and mental aspects related to POCSO. Shalini?
Okay, thank you, Shurashri. I am Shalini Korvokar, another councillor of Barrackpur Avenue Women's Cultural and Social Welfare Society, and another co-host of this webinar. So now, I would take this opportunity to introduce our very special guest of the webinar. So now, but I want to say that unfortunately, due to some medical issues, our clinical psychologist ma'am is not able to participate today's webinar. So we have with us another very special psychologist who is Shahili Kaur. So I would like to introduce with our all four very special guests. So first we have with us Mrs. Shamili Mojumdar, who is the founder, judge cum vice chairman, Central Administrative Tribunal, Mumbai Bench and regional director, Global Vision India Foundation. Now we have next with us Mrs. Melody Raj, who is the sector coordinator, Education Menonite, Central Committee, India. And third, we have with us Ms. Shahili Kaur, who is psychologist and who works at the Hope Kolkata Foundation and Postim Bongo Krira o Jano Kollan Porishad. And now we have with us our another very special guest, Ms. Onushuva Chakraborty, who is the officer in charge reporting and scanning cell and FRO special branch, Barrackpur Police Commissionerate. Now to begin this webinar, I would now request our Secretary Ma'am, Mrs. Camille Johnson, to say some few words about the organization's work as well as the objective of the webinar. Please welcome ma'am.
Ma'am, apni mute achen, please unmute yourself.
A very good afternoon to all our esteemed guests and all our participants. We are really very honored that on a Sunday you all have taken out time to be present in this
Please,
webinar.
your voice is
This
cracking.
is our second
Due to network, I hope.
webinar. Okay. Can you?
No, miss, not clearly.
Is it better now?
Yes,
Hello.
quite
Yes,
well.
ma'am. Now it's better. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
There is a lot of network issues today.
Yes ma'am.
It's a better now? Okay. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So a very good afternoon to all our esteemed guests and participants. It's an honor for us to have you all on board on this very important webinar topic. This is a series of webinars which we are conducting on the matter of secure and safe. This is the second one, which is on children, on the POCSO part. And this is going to continue throughout for the next year, where we hope to cover most of the vital topics. And with the support of our great speakers and the wonderful ladies who are there with us in this mission, I'm sure that Barrackpur Avenue Women's Cultural and Social Welfare Society will be able to reach out to many, many people who need to be aware of their rights, of the needs of being secure and safe. I would apologize for the poor connectivity. There is a connectivity issue today, so I'm really sorry for the same. So, without taking much time, I think most of us are already aware of the organization. Barrackpur Avenue has been working for the last 22 years in the areas of child protection, women rights, and destitute elderly care. I would not like to take up time going into details because, as it is, I think there is an issue if you cannot hear me clearly. So I'll pass on to Shubhoshri and Shalini to please continue.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your views. Now inviting our first guest speaker, Hamidi ma'am. You are requested to share a vast knowledge on the legal aspects of property. Please welcome, ma'am.
Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon to all the speakers. Am I audible?
Yes,
Am
ma'am.
I
You
audible?
are.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon to all the viewers, speakers, and also my special thanks to Mrs. Johnson, Shurusri, Shalini, and other members of this association, Barrackpur Avenue Women's Association, for giving me this opportunity to speak a few words. This time is very short on safe, secure, and healthy childhood. Now, these three words are all interlinked. We cannot give, a healthy childhood unless and until the children are safe and secure. And the endeavor all over the world is now to, create an environment, child-friendly environment, to see that each and every child gets the optimum potential, to flourish, and also along with their fulfilling their basic needs. I'm really Mrs. Johnson, the way she is working with the children, I must say, although this is she has given a safe, secure childhood, because in US I have heard one word called CAN, that is child abuse and neglect. And this equally applies in our country also, because child abuse and neglect. Child abuse refers to different types of abuses like physical abuse, emotional abuse, and sexual abuse, of course. Now, this act comprises only or deals with only the sexual abuse. So, since the subject is safe, secure, healthy childhood, so I'll touch that one point, that yes, it's not only, we are not concerned about only sexual offenses, we are also concerned about bringing up a child in a healthy, safe, secure atmosphere. Neglect naturally includes, the lack of bare necessities. So that is their clothing, their food, clothing, basic education, and also access to health. And these issues are, being addressed by your association. Really, we are grateful. A part of the society is grateful to you for your welfare work. And this is also naturally a very inspiring venture for you, that you are arranging for all these webinars on security and safety of women and also children. Before I Because this is POCSO, you want to discuss on the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012. Before I start discussion on this legal provision, this is not a law class as time is very short. It's not possible to touch all the relevant provisions. Only I touch some which will be relevant for the common people, for sensitization, for awareness. Before I go to that, I am tempted to share one experience, one listening experience which I got in Bangladesh in 2004. I went to attend the SAARC conference on trafficking. There, I was taken to a shelter home where I found boys, below age of 14, at least 3 or 4. They were rescued from Middle East countries. So why they were trafficked? You'll be surprised to know that it's a very, pleasure and entertaining game for the sheikhs and other rich people there, that they will they will keep these children, below 14 years for some months. They'll feed them, they'll make them very happy, jovial, and finally, on the day, D-Day, they will just tie this one child with one horse, and the child has to run with the horse, and everybody can understand what will be the result. So these poor children, they were actually rescued by some international organizations. And I found some of them were very morose, but anyway, I should not discuss that because this is, at least, thank God, this is not, in our country, you don't find such type of barbaric, sports. But when I asked them, why did you go there? The children said, we did not go. We are asked to go by our parents for food, because we cannot get food to eat here. And we want to do some, work also to help our families. And then I said, some of them actually reached there also. So they told me that, yes, since all are Bengalis, খুব মজা ছিল ম্যাম, আমরা খেতাম আচ্ছা ফ্রুটস, খুব ভালো ফল, নাট, চকলেটস খেতাম, কত খাবার, চিকেন, মাটন. So they were allured for the food. This is the most unfortunate part of, I think, this area, of the globe. Anyway, so this is very heart-wrenching, and this is, it actually is devastating when you hear all these things. So now I'll go to that part of sexual abuse, because this Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012. We know about I have already told in the last session about our constitution. Our solemn constitution always came into in the role of a savior. And our constitutional writers, they could foresee the plight of even the children, women and children. So they made some provisions, for the, apart from equality and all these things, that the special provisions, state will be able, this is an enabling profession, will be able to make laws for the special laws for the children and also for the women. So this is a special law, and this is then pursuant to Article 15 of the Constitution, and also after our India ratified the International Convention on Children's Rights in 1992. This act came, unfortunately, after almost 20 years. Anyway, something is better than nothing. So this act is called the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012. I'll just touch some of the offences. We all know that sexual offences towards the children, it's no less than a heinous crime. This also exposes the barbaric mindset of the accusers or offenders. So stringent provisions should be there. I am not a lawmaker, but I always think if a crime is rarest of the crime, then the offenders are hanged. Then why not? I find that these types of offenses are also rarest of the rare. Anyway, whatever is there in law, I'll tell you, this is my view, that stringent punishments should be rendered to these offenders. Now, this act has described various types of sexual harassment. I'll not go into detail, but I can just read out some of the sexual harassment as contained in this act. A person is said to commit sexual harassment upon a child when such person with sexual intent utters any word, or makes any sound, or makes any gesture, or exhibits any object or part of the body with the intention that such word or sound shall be heard, or such gesture or object or part of body shall be seen by the child. Or makes a child exhibit his body or any part of his body so as it is seen by such person or may any other person. Or third, shows any object to a child in any form of media for pornographic purposes. Or fourth, repeatedly or constantly follows or watches or contacts a child either directly or through electronic, digital, or any other means. These are all amendments after 2019, that electronic, digital, and any other means. Fifth is threatens to use in any form of media a real or fabricated depiction through electronic film or digital or any other mode of any part of the body of the child or the involvement of the child in a sexual act, or entices a child for pornographic purposes or gives gratification thereafter. So these are the sexual offenses which have been described in this act. Now I'll not go into the details of the, because there are major offenses, minor offenses, and what is aggravated offenses. I'm not going into that. I'll go straight to section 19, because these are the provisions we must have some knowledge about this. What is the procedure? How to deal with these offenses when anybody comes across that such offenses are being committed. This is procedure for reporting of cases. This is very important. These cases have to be reported to the appropriate authorities. Who are the appropriate authorities? Appropriate authorities is Special Juvenile Police Unit. In most of the police stations, these units are available. If not, then to the police, local police. So as soon as somebody comes across such happening of such offense, be that a child, be that an adult, they should immediately inform the Special Juvenile Police Unit or the local police. And the information must be given numbered. It has to be numbered. It has to be in writing. And it should be entered in a book to be kept in the police station. So this is our primary duty to address these kinds of heinous crimes. Now I'll skip over and I'll go to this. What is the duty of the special juveniles? I think there is a speaker there from the officer in charge of the Special Juvenile Police Unit. She will elaborate. But only thing, within 24 hours of the information. Before that, I must say that if it is an information by the child, information, whatever information is recorded, that has to be read over to the informant. If he is a child or she is a child, it has to be made in a very lucid manner. It is a very simple language. He has to be or she has to be informed that this is the information you have given us. And the Special Juvenile Court will report to the Child Welfare Committee and the Special Court, both, within 24 hours, without any delay. And the Special Juvenile Unit and police also, they have a duty. If they find that the child is in a trauma, child needs immediate nursing or immediate protection, they have to send the child to the rescue home, to the shelters, and also for medical aid to the hospitals, if depending on the requirement. Now, second, I'll skip over and I'll go to, there is punishment for false complaint or false information. Now, the question is that we are very much afraid of pass over the information. So, no matter whether it's false or not, anyway. So then, procedures for recording statement of the child. We all know that the child, why they are made prey of these heinous crimes? Because the children, we know, they are, because of the tender age, because of their inexperience about life, because of their physical vulnerability. They are very weak physically. They cannot, this is an equal fight or equal, deal between an adult and a child. So that is why I always tell my friends that don't slap your child because he cannot or she cannot slap you because she knows her, his or her limitations, physical limitation, and also maybe his teaching of his pedigree and all those things. Anyway, so physical vulnerability is a very important factor for a child to become easy prey of these offenses. And also, they have very less experience about life. To understand what is happening. When they understand, they then try to, because they know this is not correct, because this is not a day-to-day happening. So I must, hide this. I must not disclose this. And finally, when he or she discloses, then sometimes it becomes very late. So everybody, the children, the society, everybody has to be sensitized. And the procedure is recording of statement of a child. So normally the statement of a child should be taken from his home, from a place where he feels comfortable, and essentially by a woman police officer who will not be less than sub-inspector in rank. And when he will take the statement, she will take the statement of the child, she will not be in uniform, because the children are already threatened of police. We threaten them when they don't eat or don't do something, your police will come and make you eat. If there is somebody in the family, your police uncle will come and you have to eat or you have to do these things. So these people, the children are already afraid of police. So and also to see that the child does not come into contact with the accused or with the offender. Still, he is not an offender unless and is proved anyway. Accused should not come in contact with the accused. And thereafter recording by magistrate, that will be according to law. Then I'm coming to, this is called medical examination on all these things. Then I come to section 28, which speaks about designation of special courts. So because we want a speedy trial, government or society wants a speedy trial, so there will be some designated special courts in consultation with the Chief Justice of the High Court by notification in official gazette. The government will designate for each district a court of session to be a special court. And where there is no such designated court, there only session judge will have to deal with this, will have to be reported and have to be dealt with properly. Then what the special court should do during trial, because trial is held in the court only. The special court may, if it considered necessary, permit frequent breaks for the child during the trial. Sometimes the child, he is or she is traumatized. He or she needs some breaks. The judge has to give him or her breaks, during trial. And the special court shall create a child-friendly atmosphere by allowing a family member, a guardian, a friend or a relative in whom the child has trust or confidence to be present in the court. And sometimes it's, in some cases, the trial may be held in camera also. Then it's already said the child will not see the accused at the time of testifying, even at the time of trial. So the period of recording of evidence of a child and disposal of the case in ordinarily cannot exceed 30 days. And after taking cognizance, the special court also will do it as expeditiously as possible. These are all provisions of this Act. 37 is there. I just noted the trials to be conducted in camera. The special court shall try cases in camera. Camera means no one will be there, only the victim and the accused and their counsels. And maybe because it's a child question of child offense, so the family member can be there. Any other person in whom the child has trust or confidence. This is called camera trial in court. Now 39 is guidelines. The NGOs, experts, they can be appointed by the court, to assist the child, the victims. I think I have crossed 10 minutes, isn't it? Have I crossed 10 minutes?
Ma'am, it's okay. No problem.
Ma'am, it's okay, ma'am.
Really?
Continue.
This is not a law class, so I don't want to. So there are 46 provisions and all the important means which are required. Yes. Which are required, by the general people, not the lawyers. So I have almost covered all those. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing this wonderful input on this topic with us. Thank you so much, ma'am. So now I would like to request Melody ma'am, who will be enlightening us with her sharing and valuable sharings with us. Please welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much. A very good afternoon to all of you. It is my privilege to be a part of this meet and to share a little bit of what I know. This is a very difficult, challenging subject, but as we know, we all are on the same mission to help each other, and we can do that if we make ourselves aware, and then we will be tools in society to make a safe and a secure environment for our children. So I would like to show us a small presentation, and then if we have any questions at the end of the entire session, then we'll go into that. So I'll just present this now. Can I be seen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is the screen showing?
Yes, ma'am. It's showing.
Okay. So basically, we all know that the full form of POCSO is the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences, which was passed in 2012, and it is a special law to protect children. The significance basically is that it is gender neutral. In the sense, under the Indian Penal Code, boys were not included. But under the POCSO Act, now both girls as well as boys are included as those who are victims. So I think this is something very important, and it has been recognized by our legal system. There are 3 points basically that we have to keep in mind under the POCSO Act. First of all, this act has increased the scope of reporting sexual crimes against children. That means it has expanded the definition of sexual assault to include non-penetrative as well as aggravative penetrative sexual assaults. These terms are more required at the court level, but we just have to, we don't have to go into the details of these terms. but we should just know as NGO workers, as teachers, that these are the terms that we have to keep in mind as incorporated in this new act under this POCSO Act. And these are explained under sections 3 to 10 of the Act. Further, it also includes punishment for persons in positions of trust or authorities like public servants, staff of educational institutions, police, etc. In the previous laws, people in such positions were not included, and that was so unfair. They were let off because of the positions they held. But under this POCSO Act, even public servants can be called to court, can be under trial. And the third important highlight is that this act penalizes persons who use children for pornographic purposes, resulting in sexual assault. So, when we use children for any kind of pornography, they also will be under trial in this act, in this POCSO, under this POCSO Act. Now, to understand a little bit between the difference of sexual assault and sexual harassment, because this is something which has been expanded under the POCSO Act. What is sexual assault? Assault, we have to remember, it has to be physical. Okay? So, it can describe a range of criminal acts which have the physical aspect attached to it. So, such an act is punishable with simple or rigorous imprisonment of 3 to 5 years or a fine or both. Okay. Now, there is a difference between sexual assault, where the physical is taken into consideration, and sexual harassment, where the physical, the body is not taken into consideration, but it is more verbal, or it is like asking for sexual favors or making advances, like maybe whistling or exposing oneself, like Ma'am Mazumdar was explaining to us a little while ago. So this comes under harassment, where the body is not touched directly, but yet there are advances, or there are some kind of requests or advances basically that are made, and here the punishment is up to 3 years or a fine or both. So I think we should, as NGO workers or as teachers, we should know the difference between the two, and that the punishment for both also is different. Another feature of the POCSO Act is that it places the burden of proof on the accused following guilty until proven innocent, unlike the Indian Penal Code. All of us, in fact, know that under the Indian Penal Code, what happens? We have to, it is innocent until proven guilty. But because of the heinous crimes with children, the sexual crimes that have been happening so much over the last few years, now the term is guilty until proven innocent. However, this term, this phrase is debatable. We might be for it or against it, so we can have a discussion on this later. Why some may be for it, why some may be against it. Another hallmark of the POCSO Act was that it was set up, it had procedures to make the criminal justice child friendly. Like again, ma'am was telling us a little while ago that it should not be like a typical court scenario where the victim, the offender is around, the police are around, there's screaming, shouting. It adds to the trauma of the child. So one of the features of this act is that the atmosphere is child friendly, the police officer is a maybe a woman too, in plain clothes, so that again is less intimidating for the child. Even during the medical examination or when the statement of a child is being recorded, a person who is close to the child or who the child trusts may be asked to be present. So this is one of the hallmarks of this act. So basically the objectives of the POCSO Act is to provide safety, security and protection of children, to emphasize speedy disposal by special court. We know that in our Indian judicial system, trials go on for 5, 10, even 15 years. But
Correct.
in this case, um, um, especially where sexual assaults are considered, within 1 year the trial has to be completed. And the third objective is to provide child-friendly judicial processes. Now, what is the special court? The special court, like again, ma'am had said it, told us before, it is a special juvenile police unit. Okay, here the state government designates a court in each district, and this court is known as the special court only for children. And like I said, the purpose is for speedy trials. That is why it is known as Special Juvenile Police Unit at the district level. Now, these courts will endeavor to complete the recording of the evidence of the child within 1 month, not more than that. They won't keep delaying it. So, if the child is, for example, hospitalized or traumatized, they will give the required support to the child, and then within 1 month, they will take the recording of the evidence. Third is they have to complete the trial within a period of 1 year, like I just mentioned. The fourth role is to restrain the media from disclosing the identity of the child. This is extremely important. But by chance, if identity or some kind of information is disclosed, the punishment may vary from fines to 6 months imprisonment or even life imprisonment. So that is how important the Special Juvenile Police Unit is. So who will report these cases? Any person, even if a child who is afraid that an offense under this act is likely to be committed or has information that such an offense has been committed, he or she shall provide such information to the SJPU or the local police. Here it comes to our role. Where a worker is in an NGO comes to know that a child who has come to him or her has been sexually abused, he or she is required by the POCSO Act 2012 to report this to the police, even in a case where the child expresses his or her reluctance in doing so. In such cases, the child and his or her family should be counseled and need to understand the obligation to report. So we should be aware that we cannot take things into our hands. However compassionate, however sorry we feel for the child, we have to convince the child and his immediate family that this has to go and be reported to the police. So what is the role of an NGO as a support system? First of all, we have to raise public awareness on children's rights, and I'm sure Barrackpore Avenue is doing that a lot, in fact, and provide active support to reported cases. Secondly, we see that since many NGOs work closely with children, they become aware of some kind of abuse which may be taking place. So a child may come first to you and me. So we become the first point of contact for the child. So therefore, we have to provide counseling, we have to report to the police, We have to ask for legal advice. We basically become the support system for the child and his or her family. And the third role is, if we as an NGO have been called by the Child Welfare Committee to become a support system, then we have to refer to the guidelines under Ministry of Women and Child Development, Ministry of Women and Child Development. We cannot do things as and how we want it working through our hearts. No, definitely not. There are guidelines that we have to closely follow. Therefore, in a nutshell, what is our role? Our role is to provide support services, including counseling, and assist the SGPU, PU, or the Child Welfare Committee in contacting the persons who are responsible for providing these services. So we are like a point of contact, or we do the liaisoning. Secondly, we act as a source of information to SGPU. If we become the support system, we have the right to information about developments, and we have to inform the police on the one hand, as well as disseminate the same information to the family members as well. Thirdly, as NGOs, we have to run these shelter homes, children's homes, keep them safe and friendly for the child, because they are in a waiting period. So we have to make it as comfortable as possible for them. Fourth is, produce victim children before the police or the Child Welfare Committee. Organize awareness programs, trainings on this law, like you all are doing now. You all have arranged for this Google Meet, for this webinar, where we are able to learn from each other. And the fifth one is providing support persons. Sometimes we as NGO workers will be asked to be translators, interpreters, or like taking down the statement of a child. So we become like the middle people. So that is how we become support systems. And finally, we facilitate the restoration and rehabilitation of the child. So we can see that we have a big role as NGO workers, as school teachers in the society. There is lots and lots. OXO is not a small subject that we can learn so much within a few minutes, but this is just a little bit that we can take back with us, that we can search more from the net, that we can talk to each other from experts and get ourselves aware and be a change maker in the society. So thank you. That's about it.
Thanks, ma'am, for wonderful inputs on the subject and your valuable thoughts. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Welcome.
Now, our next special guest speaker is Ms. Shohini ma'am, who will share on the mental health impact on this topic. Please welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share, to reflect mental health and its consequences, child sexual abuse consequences on mental health issues. So I would like to define child sexual abuse at first, because the time is obviously too short to explain the mental health issues due to child sexual abuse. I would like to start from definition. So it is involvement of a child with any sexual activity before the legally recognized age of consent. First of all, several myths are related to child sexual abuse, like abuser is not a stranger. It is totally a great myth of our society. 95% of the cases it has been found. Secondly, it has been shown that the abuser is not common or not a civilized person, but it is also can be happened that the abuser is from our very common surfaces, very familiar person. Okay, not really the drunk or deviants are only the abusers, can be the abusers. Thirdly, the third myth can be that it never happened, the child is making a story. But no, actually, from this myth, the child feel unsafe in his or her family or his or her very very primary caregiver. So what happened that most difficult phase is that for the child, so it may turn to a traumatic experience for a child. Okay, then many a times it has been found that many people think that why the child do not report about sexual abuse. No, the maybe behind the story the child is feeling threatened or the child is feeling blamed for the uh, incident, and the child is feeling shame, fear is occurring, and many anxiety issues may occur also. Okay, that's why the child is not sharing her story of sexual abuse. Then many times it also happen that people think no damage occurs by sexual abuse. Please try to shatter the story, but many physical damage as well as psychological damage may occur due to physical sexual abuse. Physical damage like pregnancy, like sexually transmitted infections, and psychological damages like psychological trauma, genital trauma may be occurred due to child sexual abuse. Okay, and another myth is many people think child may seduce a person and that's why the incident happened. But in that case it also important that maybe the adult have some sexual confusions, and that's why this is happening because many time child may not has the exposure or the awareness about sexual activity or may not has the sex education. Okay, many time it also coming from that child is fine, nothing happened with her. So no, the child who is experienced who experienced child sexual abuse need to be assessed and need treated by a professional because this may be very much impactful in further his or her life. And last but not the least, that the girl child only experienced abuse, but no, boys are as well as experienced child sexual abuse. Now I would like to share few features, behavioral features and physical indicators of abuse, like a child experienced sexual abuse may shows anger outburst, frequent anger outburst, maybe shows excessive crying or irritability, temper tantrums, maybe become very disrespectful towards other, and sexualized play, engaged in sexualized play, and maybe any type of unexpected changes like a child is very lively, very outgoing, suddenly it turns into very withdrawn, very shy, very unresponsive, may be a indicator of child sexual abuse. And also poor academic performance may be a indicator of child sexual abuse, so we have to be very much careful and I should say very much like observe to observe very cautiously about a child's behavior because they are not very vocal, not very easily opening up about their stories. And physical indicators can be unexplained pains, can be obviously pregnancy, can be infections, can be headache or stomach pain, etc. And now the long term and short term effects of child sexual abuse. Long term effects can be like intimate relationship issues or trust issues, psychological issues like depression, anxiety, like post traumatic stress disorder, like obsessive compulsive disorder, like many personality disorders. Okay, difficulty in trust, difficulty in living a gentle life, suicidal issues like excessive substance abuse, and obviously delinquent behavior can be a long term effect. And short term effects can be like the child felt very powerless, very lack of confidence. Obviously anger issues are great big indicators and also a effect in child behavior. Fear, nightmares, can be concentration issues, can be flashback memories, also a short term issues. Okay, now I would like to go what we can do for children, for a child, for our children just after the disclosure of child sexual abuse, because many a time the child felt fearful, felt fear of rejection, felt fear of criticism after this, and very much guilt in her mind. So first of all we can do, make our children aware about good touch and bad touch. We can say that good touch is the touches we feel comfortable, you feel comfortable and you feel safe, secure, feel warm, feel love. And bad touches are you feel uncomfortable, sad, you feel irritable. Okay, in the through these adjectives we can share with our child about good touch and bad touch, and also make feel our child comfortable to share his or her feeling about any touches, any interactions, any type of incidents. Okay, now we can assure them that you can share with me about any type of your uncomfortable feelings. Then we can do psychological first aid actually after the disclosure, that please listen carefully and show your empathy. Many times we shows our sympathy, not empathy. So please be empathetic, try to view their story according to their eyes, according to their words, not try to put your words into their mouth. Please acknowledge her pain, acknowledge her mental state, acknowledge her fear, acknowledge whatever she is or he is going through, and speak quietly, be calm, and please talk with his or her privately. Please maintain the confidentiality, obviously, and try to reassure and be very non-judgmental in your mind also, like no, nothing happened to you, nothing, it is nothing, everybody will face it. Obviously many people have faced it, but not like this is not a matter of this much casual. It's very much serious for a child. Be attentive, believe the child, please believe the child, give the child direct instruction, direct answer, like okay, I will show the matter, I will take some action. No, please discuss with him or her about the further action and obviously take her consent. Till the time the child is not ready to share with anybody else, or the child is not ready to share to take any actions, need counseling, need psychological counseling, because the counselor has that professional training to deal with the situation, and there are many cases, many psychological tools which may find many underlying psychological baggages of the child that may preventing the child to open up, preventing the child to come with, to deal this issue. Okay, and obviously be very much respectful of with the child, be very much respectful, no critical comments is helpful in this case. Okay, and which I we do not do not allowed for the child is, do not overreact, do not be shocked, do not shows any expression like, oh, what happened, this is very ridiculous, this is very uncertain, obviously this is uncertain, this is very sad, but be very much calm and very much supportive for the child, and do not push the child to talk about the details of the abuse. Let her talk, let him talk about the, and please just listen to the story. Do not put words in their mouth, do not question about the issues, because many a time questions are like accusation, reflects like accusation to the children, like they are responsible. Please tell them that you are not responsible for the issues, for the incident, whatever the situation, you are not responsible for the incident. And do not make false promises, like okay, you will completely you are completely okay, this will uh, uh, make over, this will go through. Just try to make the child comfortable and be very acceptable to the situation, and also for further let it go, for further let it go, and do not ask about any type of like victims relationship with the convict, with the offenders, because the relationship may be very special and the child is abusing, the abuse incidents is happening several times, so exploring the relationship may be very much impactful, badly impactful on the child. And I would like to share a story of which I have visited in my master's MEC internship, that a girl experiencing child sexual abuse during her 14 years old, and the girl visited my session when she was 24 years old, and she came with OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder symptoms, and she was very much uncooperative during my session. And after 2-3 sessions, it has found that behind the story there is child sexual abuse, and that only causes the psychopathology. And after the disclosure, she recovered very well, very well. So maybe in any cases, in any types of disorder, there may be a case of CSA or child sexual abuse. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. So I would like to thank Shoheli ma'am for enriching us with her valuable information on mental health aspect with us. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Okay, so now I would like to request our next special guest, Onushwa ma'am, for enriching us with her practical experiences and knowledge with us on this topic. Please welcome ma'am.
A very good afternoon to all present. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay. First of all, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to Barrackpur Avenue Women's Cultural and Social Welfare Society, all of its members, and especially Johnson ma'am. Thank you so much for providing this platform. And literally, I'm feeling very much privileged because I have been able to listen so much of uh, knowledgeable things. I am feeling enlightened right now because I am able to, because we have heard from our Honorable C. Majumdar ma'am, then respected Melody Raj ma'am, then Shohaldi madam. So with all of your kind permission, I'm just starting my presentation. So first of all, I would like to wish all of you a very happy Durga Puja because this Durga Puja is knocking at our door, and I would like to wish you very, because we are all in the Agomani phase right now. Right, I am like because সবার মধ্যে একটা বেশ পুজো পুজো একটা রব, একটা সাজো সাজো রব সবার মধ্যে, তো we all are in that phase. So first of all, I would like to wish all of you a very happy and safe Durga Puja. And with Durga Puja, which comes to all of our mind, is absolutely this Kumari Puja, which is not, it is incomplete. Durga Puja is literally incomplete without this. But maybe it's somewhere is known as Navratri, somewhere আমাদের Durga Puja সব জায়গাতে এক একটা ভাবে বলা হয়. But throughout our nation, this is the scenario which we do. We celebrate the powerhood of women, and now 9 days we do celebrate the power of women. But the rest of the days, this is the basic scenario. So this is the scenario which is growing throughout the nation. Starting from the child abuse, beggary, child marriage, last but not the least, that is commercial sexual exploitation of women or children. Now, it may come to the mind of many of us who are presently over here and in the audience, is that why we are wasting our time for listening so much of legal provisions, what will be the use of these kind of things, or why Barrackpur Avenue has arranged these kind of sessions, what will be the use of our near future. The basics is because regarding implementation of any legal procedures, that from the journey of injustice to justice, we faces many different stages. It starts from the police, then prosecutors, then judges, then finally the civil society. Without civil society, it would be impossible to achieve the holistic approach of any law enforcing or any legal perspective. Now, as we have already known that from our previous respected speakers, so I won't be going to much details regarding the legal provisions. I will be just covering the things in a nutshell. So in this act, who is a child according to this definition? Because and what is the basic need? Because why there is a need of POCSO suddenly? Because we had from our in the Indian Penal Code from the year of 1860, we are having many sections of protecting children and many cases for protecting women. But we need a special act in the year 2012, which specially protects children, both male and as well as the female. So here children means age of below the age of 18 years, and who is a child who will be protected under this act? Anyone. That can be a boy, that can be also a girl. Now, the salient features, as we have already known, and I'm just discussing, this law ensures entire child-friendly processes and emergency medical care service, because there we have seen that whenever there is an aggravated sexual assault or any sexual penetrative sexual assault, there is need of medical care, and that can be done, that needs to be done. And there are certain, we have found that hospitals are not so much attentive, or police are taking so much of time of registering their case. But this law has provided some basic guidelines to all the enforcing agencies that we need to provide special treatment to the children of the victims of this who falls under these cases. And basically, whenever any offenses again happens against any children, then there is a constraint which comes to our mind that we should not move with the law enforcing agency. Nobody shall file a case against that thing that will lead to legal harassment of the, because going to a police station, it creates a kind of a panicness among the complainant or the victim family. So this ensure complete child-friendly procedure in this law. So this is a kind of child-friendly ambience which this law provides to all the at various stages of which starts from the commission of the offense, then for the registration of the case, then finally to the trial. Next, it ensures not only the about the punishment of the FIR and the accused, it also ensures care and protection of the victim. Now, here are certain specialized, because madam, our former respected speakers have already described these things. So I will be just mentioning the things. There are various kind of offenses which have covered under this section of law. There are sexual assault of penetrative, then aggravated, then sexual assault of aggravated senses, then sexual harassment, which means mere use of any verbal words or mere gesture of any offensive gesture can be an offense under this act. Then use of children for pornographic purposes is also a crime under this act. And moreover, if somebody attempts this offense, which is also a punishable act in this case, and also abetment to this, because somebody if conspires or encourages an offender to participate in that attempt, that person will be booked under this section of law. Now, here are various forms of child abuse, because most of the time it's not about that we do ignore the we force the child for any kind of a child labor, or we are denying the child about the right to education or anything like that. But mere ignorance to the child also aids to child abuse. And this not only has been confined to the physical parameters. Nowadays, we know that after this 2020, we have been in another era of our life. We are surviving in another, this is a digital forum. Previously, we were just because we were very much cautious about keeping our children away from the internet devices. But right now, this is very much common, because they are having their, they have been, we need to face our children in various WhatsApp groups. We are forcing them to use this social media forum. Previously, we used to check that why you are sitting with the mobile phone or why you with the internet, but now we have become the opposite. Now in this, after this pandemic, still we are in the phase, because all the online classes, still we are in this webinar, we are using this mobile phone. So this is also another platform which are enhancing this another form of crime, that is cyber crime against women and children. And they are also, because if you check the last national crime record, as per the records of National Crime Record Bureau, there are many such incidences which are occurring in this physically, that there have been like those are many incidents in our past past era, but now there are incidents of these things which are ongoing in these social media forum. There are cyber morphing, there are cyber stalking, there are electronic harassment. These things will be also be covered under this this act, with some provision of IT Act. Now it comes about the reporting of offense. I am repeatedly emphasizing that here children means both boy as well as the girl child, because we generally think that having a boy child in our family is much more safe and secure. But now the era, now the situation is changing. The boy child is as well as in the similar manner, he is vulnerable, and he is so much of prone to the crime like the girl child are. So we need to be careful to both of them. We need to be compassionate to both of them. It's nothing that, oh, you are a boy, because whenever we do talk to a boy, we say, "Arey, ladke to rote nahi hai, be strong." So these are the general taboos which have been we are facing. But right now we need to pull ourselves from that thing, because boys are also becoming very much susceptible to this kind of crime. Now, another thing, why this is important for us, because whoever who are attending to these sessions, because silence, mere silence is also a crime in this act. Because if we know that it is a duty of each and every citizen to report to the police or the Child Rights Commission or to any forum, like we can inform to Childline, we can simply dial 109 and we can inform this thing to them, because mere silence is also an abatement to this crime. So we need to focus on this. Again, nowadays we are facing that many false allegations are arising, because there are certain cases of 498A or domestic violence where any person is making a false allegation, just a false allegation, or a child is being used or utilized. I have seen many cases regarding mere argument within an argument of a landlord or a tenant, where they are coming with a POXO complaint, this is a civil matter case, and they are coming with a POXO case where child is being used or utilized as a kind of a thing. In domestic violence, we have seen those kind of things over there. So there are punishments for this kind of things also. If any false allegation arises there, then those people will be booked under this act as well. Now, this is very much important, that whenever we are whenever these kind of incidents occurs in our, because we have seen many news channels who are reporting this kind of things, then they use a blurred picture of the child and the family members, because it is our duty to save each and every child's identity, because it creates an additional mental pressure, because it is seen that whenever a victim family has to face much more difficulties, because whenever, even it's happened to us also, whenever we are going through through a public transport, or we are availing any public transport, if something happens to us and we raise our voice, then it's a very common thing, "Arey, তোর সাথেই কেন হচ্ছে, ওর সাথে তো হলো না, নিশ্চয়ই তুই কিছু করেছিস." Because we try to put allegation to the victim. We never, it's a very common thing which we do in our daily life. We hardly become very much supportive. That's why we are needing this kind of sensitization program, that we need to be much more compassionate, much more sensible regarding these of cases, because after knowing the thing, we try to put allegation to the family members about the culture. হ্যাঁ, কেন তোমার মেয়ের সাথে এটা হলো, ওই বাড়ির সাথে তো হলো না, নিশ্চয়ই ওর কোথাও ভুল ছিল। So this kind of general taunting type of behavior, these are general features we do start. So that is the basic things we need to keep we need to ensure the privacy of the child's personal details, and also the protection of the identity of the child. Now, basically, these children are being treated as child in need of prayer and protection, because it's not about just to ensure just of the arrest of the accused, but there is because just a few minutes back, Madam was telling that we need to be very much empathetic rather than sympathetic. Yes, it is very true, because whenever whoever being victimized under these kind of crime, they are being disturbed totally psychologically, physically, so they are, but as well as the psychologically. So they are being termed as child in need of care and protection. And here are various structures that we need to follow, that whenever we are, because there are many NGOs who are working, and I have literally fortunate, because I have been able to work, and I have got the opportunity to work with Barakpur Avenue for in many of the cases, and because some sensibilities are required by the members, especially I've seen those kind of things. So just I'm sharing, because it aids to the dealing with the offenses in a better manner, like using of simple languages while we are dealing with the recording of the statement, then using of the then interpreter and the translator, then no child should be detained in the police station in the night, because I have approached many times Johnson madam regarding the safe shelter, like the overnight protective stays of the child in our home. So like this kind of many of things, then dealing of the child, especially a girl child, by a woman police officer not below the rank of sub inspector, and thus we need to give the child a time for his or her mental stability. It's nothing that whenever the offense takes place, we are getting the child and we start recording his or her statement. It's create an additional trauma to her. We need to give her a space or kind of a safe shelter. Then we, after her mental stability, we should try to record the statements of the girl child or the boy child. And there are specialized magistrate structures over here, that is CWC, Child Welfare Committee. We need to report any such incidents which is occurring to that forum within 24 hours. And there is one more thing, that as soon as anything comes to our mind, we need to separate the child from the accused person, because that creates a very much negative, because that accused try to manipulates that child or try to make him under a fearful environment, that if you do this and I will be harming your family members or like that. So that we need to take care, basically, that child or the alleged person, they should be kept in a different place. Now, it's very clear that those who are being victimized under these kind of crime, that is, they are termed as child in need of care and protection, and they are produced in front of CWC. But it is very common that we find children who are committing crimes. We are fine, because nowadays there are many children. We are seeing that there are some kind of affairs which are occurring. Then the boy is being treated as the child in conflict with law, because we do not use the term as the criminal against children, whoever committing the crime and like that. So those children will be treating as the child in conflict with law. Now the CNCP children will be produced in front of CWC for their special treatment. And is the screen visible right now?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
But
No, at present it's not visible.
Ma'am, you please again screen. You can share your screen again.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Now it's visible.
It's visible? Okay.
Yes, now it's okay.
Okay. Now, we can categorize children into categories over here. That is, the child who being victimized, they will be termed as child in need of care and protection, and they will be produced in front of CWC. And those who will be committing crime, they are generally termed as child in conflict with law, CCN. Then they will be produced in front of JJB, Juvenile Justice Board. So basically, we are here to create a safe and secure environment for all type of children who are being victimized or who are even committing any sort of crime. So here we are all together trying to create a safe and secure environment for all the children in our society. This is the main goal, basically. And there are specialized, because JJ Act is there, which is covering these aspects as well. But I have just mentioned because nowadays we are getting some kind of things, because some children who are studying together, if they get into a relationship, which is very much common, and the girl child's families are coming with POXO complaint wherever the boy is being treated as the CCL boy. So these are the very common things which we are seeing. We need to be sensitive and be compassionate to both of the children here. It's we and the first of all thing that we should not to treat any over here as a criminal, because we are not the judges, and we being the part of the civil society is our duty to ensure and protect each and every children whoever we are meeting in our daily life. Now, the most important thing is that because whenever there is a very much aggravated or the penetrative sexual assault which occurs, then it seems that generally এটা বলা হয় যে যতক্ষণ FIR হবে না ততক্ষণ কোনো medical examination হবে না. But this is a very common thing that no FIR is required for treating the child to a hospital. So you can being any responsible citizen, you can take the child to your any recognized hospital to your end for his or her medical treatment, because here the priority is medical treatment of the victim is the priority. Later on, those other procedures that can be carried out. And the responsibility of the state government, that is already there. The special court, madam, our respected speakers have already mentioned. Okay, now there are schemes for victim compensations, because it has been noticed that because whenever who are being victimized, their entire childhood or anything, it becomes it goes into a disturbing phase. So far there is a compensation which being provided by the government, then those can be applied for the or any medical treatment aid that will be also be provided by with the honorable with the judgments of the honorable judges who are presiding over the special court. So there are certain provisions of victim compensations and training that we are doing right now. These are training, like many training sessions are being organized by many NGOs. So we are thankful to them, because sensitizations and more awareness can lead to a better society, which I do believe. So it's nothing which whenever a crime occurs, we generally think no, police is the only stakeholder, but no, police is one of the stakeholders, and there are many people who builds a positive civil society. It may include a teacher, NGO or social activist, doctors, and many other people, because we are or we can all together can build a basic safe structure, and this is known as a safe circle for the children, because we can only provide them a specialized a safe future for their upcoming days. Now, basically, whenever something happens, we do visit the police station and we do report the crime to the police stations over there. And police generally coordinates with all the other units, that is whether it is CWC, Child Welfare Committee, or the Juvenile Justice Board, or District Child Protection Unit, or the homes, or the child line, or any NGOs, because all together we are working for the best interest of the child. So we are together, we are functioning together. It's nothing that we are something different. That's why we all are together in this forum, and we are all representing ourselves and our end to preach a general motive to all of you, that is the protection of best interest of the child. It's the basic things which we are covering throughout the entire session of today's of this topic of POXO and the mental health of the children. Now, that is the main thing, that is counseling, which is very much required. This is whether it is in the whoever who have attempted a crime. I think it's a kind of a thing which each and every victim needs to undergo for a healthy future ahead. So counseling is one of the important things, because there we have noticed that there are behavioral indicators with there are abrupt changes among the behavior of the children. They are very much reluctant to go to home, then very of low esteem, and poor peer relationships, then a recurrent of nightmares, because generally whatever things happen to a child, they become very much suppressive in their nature. They do not they keep themselves aloof from the other groups and all those things. So that can be, we need to identify those things, that whatever, is there any other behavioral indicators or not, like that. The more important thing is that counseling of families, we need to focus on counseling of the families as well, because mere counseling of the child will won't lead to the ultimate reaching of the goal, because the support of the family is very much required in this case. And for this, I do believe in this rich mechanism, that is respect, information of the child. We need to build up proper information of the child and the family members and the orphans which has happened to that child. Then connection, we need to build a basic connection with the children or the victim. Otherwise, we won't be able to fulfill the complete goal of counseling. And finally, hope. We need to keep a hope within all of us that yes, we can again reintegrate to the society. So the basics, only the basic two things, that is respect to the victims is the immediate priorities, and creation of a safe space, which these things we need to prioritize. And I do believe that it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. So anything, so I would request all of you to please join our hands together so that we can build a more suitable, more protective society in our near future, so that all the children can have a safe and secure future ahead. So thanks to all of you. Thank you for providing me this wonderful platform. And today I'm feeling enlightened and enriched, because I'm literally thankful to all the respected speakers, and thanks to all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your experiences on this vital topic, which is really enlightened us. Thank you so much, ma'am. So, now we have with us our learned audience who are sure would like to ask some questions to our esteemed speakers. Shalini?
Yes. So who wants to ask the question? Please, you can unmute yourself and you can ask the question to our esteemed speakers.
Good evening, all. I'm Ruma Rai from Sacred Heart Day High School. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
First of all, I thank all the speakers for enlightening us on many areas which was in dark for all of us. But one thing which hunted me is that uh, before the case comes to the police, the case occurs, the ultimate act is over, then only we think about the police, then we think about the media, we think about other things where to expose things. But I think in schools and in family, we have to give a very secure life and a very free and friendly environment to the child, so that the smallest deed, the act, they should be free and frank to come and report it to someone. I've seen during my career that very small children, they understand very well what is bad touch and good touch, because they say, मैडम उसका छुआ हुआ तो खराब नहीं लगता है, इस सर का छुआ हुआ क्यों खराब लगता है. I've also seen that throughout the schooling life, the child is not able to come out with those problems. And nowadays, because the media is very popular, social media, after leaving the school, they speak about those persons. And usually the person who is doing all these things has a very what you call clean image and a very humble and respectable person, and so we cannot catch that person, that a person like this can also do that. So my question is how to give an environment to the children that they'll be very free to come and tell the incident, because I've seen they wait for a particular teacher with whom the child is free. With only to that teacher they will speak out. I want to know that what type of environment or the encouragement we will give the child, that the child has that courage to come and speak out what is happening. very initial stage they will come, and then I think all these procedures won't have to be done. They'll be solved out in a very initial stage only.
Ma'am, sorry for the interruption. Can you mention whom you also asked the question?
The question is, how can we make our children courageous or self-sufficient that the child will report the case to someone or the other, to the teachers especially, or to the mother?
Ruma Miss, whom are you addressing the question to? Among our
Anyone who can answer me. Anyone who can answer me. Anusha also said that we have to make our children very, give them an environment. Anyone who can answer this.
Ma'am, actually, I think just we are in the verge of this making of this society, because with more and more such kind of program and this awareness sessions, because ma'am, just you have mentioned, and I would like to mention one thing, because I had Ruma ma'am as one of my teachers. So, so there are certain teachers which we do feel, yes, she is the one with whom we can, because I mentioned in one of my style that we need to build a safe circle or a safety circle for the children. So it's our duty to very much be compassionate, because I am telling that we need to be compassionate to the children, then only will be children. We need to tell them, then yes, these are your rights, these are your duties. So basically we need to give them those kind of things. For that we need, and the opponent end, being on the side of the adult, we need to enlighten ourselves that yes, we need to be compassionate. And moreover the thing, whenever a crime happens, we from the adult people only, we try to make some allegations to them. We try to poke them, because all the teachers are also not same. Because I have seen Ruma Miss, she was very much child friendly, because we are using this term child friendly. We are using this term child friendly police corner. If the entire police station becomes child friendly, then there will be no need of this child friendly police corners. No need
That
of this
that is
child friendly
what.
police corners, because
I
I
also
have.
think, Anusha, I also think that sex education is the need of the day
Yes,
today.
yes, yes, ma'am. Because with this kind of sensitizations program, only we will be reaching to the this kind of things. Because most of the parents, because I have, when in before the pre-lockdown days, ma'am, I am telling you, which when I used to approach the schools authorities that I need to conduct this kind of gender equality sessions and all like that, or the POXO Act sessions, then I had to listen that many of the teachers and principal have said me, ma'am, if we allot us few minutes to to you, then parents are asking, it would have been better to allot a maths extra maths session, extra science sessions, because
That's true. That's
these
true.
are, because they are listening this from the parents side, that these are not important. So we need to hammer to the very root level. We need to have sessions more with the parents. We need to make them understand that these are the basic things, because previously we have grown up in a families of but in a joint families, where we used to share our anything or our any problem we used to face with our nana nanis, dada dadis, or our teachers. But now we are living in nuclear families, where hardly the parents also have hardly any kind of time with to listen to the prayer. Because I mentioned ignorance. Whenever many of among us, after returning to the office, if a child comes, দেখো মা কি বানিয়েছি, দেখো মা কি এই এখন সরো তো, ভালো লাগছে না, it's a kind of a things which we do with our children. But previously, now it was not the thing. But now we need to hammer to the basic root. We need to preach this idea and convey these messages to the parents. Basically, we need to understand understand each and every teachers, because not all have the same level of compassion, ma'am, which I think. And rest of the speakers are here.
Anusha, you're very lucky. You have a parent who is always with you. I really feel very proud that you have such a
I was
parent.
lucky I had you,
And
ma'am. I had you as
Yes,
well.
I feel lucky that I had you, students
And
like y'all in my life.
I have, and Johnson ma'am is here also. She is here because I have seen many children calling her as mummy. So children calling
Ah,
any other woman as mummy, it creates another, because how much compassion I have seen her compassionate motive. I have seen her. She is here. I am addressing her directly because we need to build these kind of
yes,
personalities
yes.
among all of us. Then otherwise अगर सब আমাদের মধ্যে সবার মধ্যে যদি এটা তৈরি হয় তাহলে আলাদাভাবে বাচ্চাদেরকে শেখাতে হবে না, বাচ্চারা এমনি এসে বলবে, because
She's the
addressing
mother
any
of
other woman
thousands
as
and
mummy.
thousands of children. She's the mother to all.
Yes,
And
that
she
is the
treats
main
them
thing.
like their children. Very like
Yes,
we
yes.
will get irritated, but she never gets. I've never seen her getting irritated so
Yes,
far.
yes. So this
Last
is
five
what
years
we
that
need.
Nina.
Yes, we need to build these kind of personality among ourselves. If we can build that kind of personality, because it is being said, because Majumdar, Honorable Majumdar ma'am is also here. It is being said that police in uniform is a negative thing. We should not, while dealing with a child, we should not uniform. But ma'am, I have seen being in uniform, children coming to me, rushing to me just to grab me or just to hold me. Because there are many children in ma'am's home, because who are like, oh, police didi esheche, police didi esheche. They want to be like, be police in their near future. So I think we need to change ourselves. Children are, let children be like them only. We need to change ourselves, ma'am. This is my
Uh,
Anisha
I
ma'am,
just a
Really,
minute.
really.
I only
Anisha
limited
ma'am,
to
Please,
what the
Anisha
legal
ma'am, you are
provision. Legal
requested to.
provision is at the time of legal
Anisha
provision is
ma'am,
at the time of
could I ask you one question here? I'm Sujata Chattopadhyay, one of the teacher of the school.
Yes, you can, but Chamili ma'am was telling something.
yes. I was just telling to Anushwa that yes, I was really enriched. She is doing immense job in this field. But that uniform thing actually the act has provided that
yes, yes,
you
ma'am.
are
That is
taking
true.
exams. Yeah. And secondly, even the act has provided for creating public awareness. Section 43 has said that you have to create public awareness but through media, print media, and electronic media. The guardians and the parents have to be also sensitized and made aware. But all
Very
these
true,
things are
ma'am.
from the act, yeah, about the provisions. But what actually came from the person who questioned, the lady who questioned, and your answer, that this is a social, rather sociological problem. You know, the mothers, whether the
Yes,
mother,
ma'am.
there are very much different circumstances they are in. So, but the basic thing is we have empathy, sympathy, compassion for the children. You have to be friendly with the
Very
children.
true, ma'am. Very
And
true.
these also depend. These things also depend on the circumstances.
Yes,
If
ma'am.
the husband-wife relation is not, the is
Hmm.
not proper, the children, because there are some adversities. I'm telling you that adversities regarding witnessing violence at home, these are also create all these problems for the children, and also adversities of staying with a drunk person or drunk father or drug addicted father. Just think
Very true,
about
ma'am.
it. We are considering the children of all the status of life,
Very true,
be
ma'am.
them be them home children, shelter home children, orphanage children, street children, and also the children who are having strong financial backgrounds. Think of the maids who come to our house to work. They go back, and I heard that as soon as they go back, the drunk husband, drinking with the money of the wife, they start beating the mother. The child is so shocked and scared. Gradually, they become used to it.
Very true,
So
ma'am.
this is a social problem, sociological problem. That is why initially I really thanked, and I always say that whatever Mrs. Johnson is doing, this is something very salutary. We have to. I don't know what are the avenues of get rid of all these sociological problems. How can it? This is an economy, socio-economic problem, rather. So expectations are high, but we don't know how far we will reach the goal. Thank you.
Okay, I think Anisha ma'am wants to ask something. So can I want to request Anisha ma'am, please you can ask your question. Anisha ma'am. Okay, I think there is some problem. So, if anyone else want to ask some questions,
Okay, I have a question to Melody ma'am. Hi, Melody.
Hello,
Thank
Mrs.
you.
Johnson.
Thank you for being here with us. Um, I have a question. I have a question for you. Is in the social areas, when as a social worker, have you had any experience of witnessing or kind of locating any child who has been sexually abused? Have you had that experience, or in the various working with various social partners? Is POXO or this particular section important to be a part of the activities of other partners that you all work with? Child protection, does that form an important part of the activities with other partners?
Okay, I personally, Mrs. Johnson, haven't heard or witnessed anything from any of our partners because MCC is basically a donor agency. So that way we are not working directly with the community. But yes, it's true that when I worked with this organization called Poripurnata, I don't know if you have heard. It's a halfway home. So there I had encountered a few young girls as well as women who went through sexual assaults. But I don't think POXO was operational at that time. So after 2012, at least I haven't really encountered anything.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Um, are there any more questions from by the house? Anyone has any further questions to ask?
yes, ma'am. There is a question from another participant who has written it in
Uh-huh.
the chat box. So, Dr. Chandrasekhar, please, I would request Chandrasekhar sir to ask your question now.
Hello, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you're audible.
Ma'am, actually, I have here a question. Is that from childhood only, from class 6 to 7, we have had a chapter of reproduction in our biology book. So every parents want that their child or what must score a good marks in biology. So in the case of when we talk about the sex education in the school, so why they take back step? I basically the parents and basically the parents only. Why they take back step if they heard from someone that there will be a sex education in the school. So what is the problem regarding that, ma'am? If anyone can answer me this question. And can anyone answer me this question?
Okay, I think your question has been answered from Unushua ma'am, who has spoken about our society, our culture, and all the social stigmas, social prejudice, and I have also spoken about the myth. So, sexual awareness or the awareness about sex education for children is not very clear in our society yet now. So maybe that can be a reason. Maybe need very much awareness.
Thank you, ma'am.
Actually, I
Okay.
guess what is a big problem is that we don't know how much to reveal and how much to withhold. That is a major issue. In our school levels, at home, with my home children, even with our own children, we always are in this big dilemma as to how much we should actually say and how much we should actually not say. So that becomes a real tug of war. Though nowadays children are much, much more advanced. And I basically feel that if we can have a open, proper platform where we can actually talk to them and they can confide in us, there are many things which a child will not be exposed to if the child is aware. And the child has that safety net which we were talking about, that safety circle, those people that the child can actually share with. In our day-to-day lives, we have multiple experiences of children coming up and pouring their hearts out. We have even had cases where children have been, the girl child, even the boy child, they have been abused by their own drunken fathers, by their own fathers. So that's how terrible things are now. So I would like to take this opportunity now to thank our great guests, our esteemed speakers. We are very, very lucky that all of you, we are really very lucky that all of you have taken out your time and have been so wonderful in expressing what our audience are sure have really benefited. Um, Anushwa, it's great that we could have you on board with us. I know that everyone has a very, very busy schedule. Uh, the speaker who has really enlightened us on the health or the mental health issues. Uh, she could throw light on a good number of things. Actually, from Barrackpur Avenue side, we are trying to have many more webinars and many more focus group discussions based on these topics, which we feel needs to be promoted and people should know about it more. So I would thank all of you once again, and I sincerely hope to have you all again on board with us for our forthcoming webinars. Thank you so much. Yes,
Okay, so
Shalini.
now, yes, ma'am. So now we have come to a very important part where I request everyone to stand up for the national anthem, which I am
Yes.
showing. Sorry, it takes some time. Ma'am, am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes.
Ma'am, sorry for some technical issues. It is taking some time. Means
See, who can sing? Don't
I
worry
think we
about
can all
it.
sing. That's what I
Yes,
was
we
saying.
can sing, I think.
Yeah, we
Yes.
can all sing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, please start.
জনগণ মন অধিনায়ক জয় হে
जय
ভারত
भारत
ভাগ্য
भाग्य
বিধাতা
विधाता
पंजाब
पंजाब
सिंध
সিন্ধু
गुजरात
গুজরাট মারাঠা
मराठा
দ্রাবিড় উৎকল বঙ্গ বিন্ধ
विंध्य
হিমাচল
हिमाचल
যমুনা গঙ্গা
उत्कल तरंगो तब
তব
शुभ
শুভ নামে
नामे
জাগে
जागे
তব শুভ আশিস
आशीष मागे
গাহে তব
तब
জয়
जय
গাথা
गाथा
জনগণ মঙ্গল দায়ক জয়
नायक
হে
जय
ভারত
भारत भाग्य विधाता
জয় হে জয় হে জয় হে জয় জয়
जय
জয়
जय जय
জয় হে
जय हे
Thank
Thank
you.
you.